So this is something I have not shown on my channel yet, so you're seeing it for the first time. It's 26,000 square feet. That one has the big boy toys in it.
This whole thing, I'm not doing that. There's a line I have.
Everything that I've been doing for like the last 5 or 6 years have been leading up to this. Every single brand deal, every single video that I've made, this is what it's all building up to.
Thanks to Amaran for sponsoring this video. Well, we're back doing another studio tour, and today, I don't know if this looks familiar to anybody, there's a lot of junk on the table, but we are in Jerry Rig Everything studio.
That is me.
Say hi. You got a hot spot on your head there when you walk past that light.
Look, the lighting, it's a very interesting setup. I think you'll enjoy it.
Interesting is a complimentary term. But you know what? Because I'm probably going to make fun of it quite a bit, but it works.
It does.
Evidently it works. The channel does well. I like your content. And so that's my disclaimer to however mean I'm about to be to your beloved Zach over here. I admit that it works well and you do a good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let the roasting begin.
Let's do it.
And of course, we've got Patrick Tomaso operating the mobile camera today. What are you running today, Patrick? FX30 again?
FX30, 10 to 20, as always.
You've got 2 cameras and then 2 monitors. I think this is a smart way to do it. So top one is obviously for the overhead. And then down here we can see what's going on. These displays, are they just sort of just any kind of random old display? Or
this one's probably like 15 years old, and this one's probably 6 years old. But yeah, just anything I can get my hands on.
Now, you might run into issues with these if you try to shoot in 24 frames per second because old monitors don't accept film frame rates. But it looks like that's not a problem for Mr. 59.94 60p video over here.
Everything is 60 frames. So I have a Panasonic GH6, 5K 60 frames a second. Just gives me the most data to work with when I'm like zooming in on really small parts.
Were you at 60 before you got the GH6?
I was.
GH5 at 60?
GH5 and GH4 were always 4K 60.
I don't think you really gave me a good answer. You just said you like 60, but that's fine.
Bigger numbers are better, and 60 is more than 24.
He's not wrong. I thought you were going to tell me something like, well, when I film screens at 60, the refresh rate matches up better, and
no.
Your screens don't even work by the time you're working with them.
They're not on long enough for me to worry.
When I film screens, what were you working on here? Toothbrush?
So that is a gold plate that you just hit with a pin is a gold-plated toothbrush. And I took it apart.
I'll send you an invoice.
So thanks for that. I was taking it apart, and then obviously e-ink displays are freaking sick. Isn't that awesome?
It's dense.
So this is another e-ink display that is actually still on since e-ink is never actually off, which is cool. When I start a new project, I kind of just like take the project and scooch it off onto the edge of the table and then put my new project in the center.
It seems like you're going for sort of a don't spend more than you have to kind of vibe, right?
If it gets the job done, then it doesn't need to be expensive, and that's kind of been the vibe ever since I started. Like if these lights up here, these were probably like $15 on Amazon, and I bought them like 7 years ago.
The lights are something I want to talk about.
All right.
But okay, so you said GH6, and is this one, so 2 GH6s now?
Yep.
That makes it easy if you match the cameras, obviously.
Yep.
And then this one, what's this lens, Patrick? It's a Lumix. Do you know off the top of your head?
7 to 14.
7 to 14.
You just said what he said.
I honestly don't know what it is.
Nice and wide.
Is it 18 to 35?
That is an 18
on a speed
to
booster?
35.
Honestly, I don't know what any of those words mean. I just know that it looks good at the end of the day.
Do you ever zoom it though?
I do all the time.
Ooh. The zoom on the 1835 for like a 15-year-old lens or whatever, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It's a pretty smooth zoom.
Yeah.
Can't fault you for a classic, except for that it's mounted to an upside-down tripod.
Yeah, which
With
actually,
a DeWalt clamp.
so this stripped out, which like clamps it together. So now I just have the DeWalt clamp that I just have to, every time I stand up, I have to make sure I don't whack my head on that. You haven't seen the coolest feature yet. Okay. So to keep the desk pristine, this is a piece of paper, and I have a roll.
Applebee's or whatever it is, drawn with crayons.
Exactly. And I have a roll of paper on the other side, so every time it gets scratched up or messed up, I can just extend the paper out, and I have a brand new white desk.
It's a hospital bed. Is that what you
Basically, yeah.
So tell me about this like truss you have here. This looks like this is heavy duty.
Yeah, so I knew because previously I had it mounted to the ceiling, but this ceiling's a little bit higher than my old studio, and I've been in this space for about 5 years. And so I wanted something that was super rigid, because there's like those arm boomy things with the camera on the end, they just wiggle around all the time. And so I can't like adjust focus and wait for it to stop wiggling. So I got this DJ scaffold for $500 on Amazon.
Oh, it's a DJ scaffold.
And then barn door rails that I got at Home Depot, and then just tripod up into the rail. And so I can slide this left and right to get the shot I want.
And you put a little safety on the end so you can't
Yeah.
exceed it. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty clever. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, I guess it's in the channel name though, right?
All right, Jerry, everything. And then these are on monopods.
We don't have to reveal what's on it, but is this notes or a script or something?
Yeah, so this was for basically when I'm sitting here in this chair, print out my notes, put it next to the light, kind of like memorize what I'm going to say it to the camera, get the next point, say it to the camera. So there's a lot of editing after the fact,
Sure.
but at least I am able to make a coherent video at the end.
How long would you say that you roll for on average for one of your videos? Where you have to, go back and forth in the notes and stuff.
If I'm doing a teardown with like an ad at the beginning or whatever, it's probably like 30 minutes of talking to that camera, and then the actual teardown process is anywhere probably like an hour or so. Have a post-it note where I like take notes and stuff of things I want to say, and then when I go write the script after I'm done, that's when I
Right.
put everything together.
The teardown is already edited down to a shorter duration, and then you voice over the edited version, I presume?
Not even that. I just scroll through the footage and then make my script and then edit them both together.
Oh, cool.
I do have this fire extinguisher bomb right here that
I don't work for the safety department. You realize
I'm
that,
just saying. So if there ever is a fire, that like ignites a fuse and it explodes and puts powder everywhere. So it's like a fire extinguishing system, automatic.
I don't think you have to worry about anything causing a fire in here with these cheap ass lights you're using. Actually, or maybe you should be worried. Maybe we need more fire extinguishers because they are on mains power. And you're running a ring light too.
Yeah.
For, I guess this is your key light. I don't know what light is what. The setup is like they're in like a hexagon around you.
The one thing I do wish I had, and I don't know what light this would be. So this gold toothbrush, for example, I'm holding it,
Yeah.
but there's no light coming from the top, and
Yeah.
so the gold looks dark. So if I had like a white illuminated surface above me, that would make the gold look better. Sometimes I hold up a piece of paper and to like get the reflection to be a white. Does that make any sense? Am I
That
making
makes perfect
sense?
sense. You're using a
Alright.
bounce?
Yeah, I need a bounce light.
No, I'm saying the paper is a bounce.
I need a
But we'll give you, like you could, there's lots of things you could do. Amaran has these tubes, like T4Cs, T2Cs, we could put tube lights up here. You guys should have tube lights. They have what's that one, the F22, which is like a light mat. It's like a big panel.
yeah.
So you could just like have a big panel up here. Control.
But then would the camera cast a shadow?
It would,
If-
but look at this. You got these, you could run it, you could have, this could be, this whole space right here on either side of the camera could be panels. Like a one big panel of light. You could have like this softbox. It just goes right here on this side of the camera, another one right here on this side of the camera, and you could run them real low,
You're onto something.
real low power, and then from edge you wouldn't have these shadows, a couple P60Cs there hitting the wall, and they're full color. So one day you weren't feeling gray, you're feeling orange. You know what I mean? It's limitless. Editor Gerald here, back in my home studio to once again thank Amaran for sponsoring these studio tours and to let you know a little more about the new direction of the Amaran brand, including the launch of the new website, AmaranCreators.com. Amaran understands the challenges content creators face and are focusing their efforts on innovating and expanding their ecosystem beyond just lighting to best serve the needs of the creator. Part of this new direction is that new website, AmaranCreators.com. So head on over there to learn more about the products I mentioned in this video and check out the new commercial while you're there. All right, Amaran, activate party mode. Thanks for listening. Now back to the tour. You were talking about editing and voiceover and all other kind of stuff. Do you do everything on your own? Do you have an editor?
So I have an editor,
Yeah.
but he's lived in Texas for like the last he's a friend from high school, so I've known him for like my whole life. But he's been living in Texas, just working remotely. We just send files back and forth, proxy files. And then he gets it like 80% of the way done, and then I just polish it off and post it.
I'm obsessed with this. As a guitar player myself, there's a channel called Burl's Art. Shout out to a channel that clearly we both must like.
Yep.
Guy makes guitars out of just whatever suits his fancy.
Yeah, and
so
it
he did
looks so good.
They do. This is a pencil crayon one that he made. And I saw when I was watching like at the end of the video, he's like, and we'll put it up for auction, whoever wants it. And then I found out this guy bought it, and I was like,
Yeah.
hey, I know that guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is your voiceover setup?
Yeah, so I have a $60 Samson Meteor mic. This is the same one I've been using for like 7 years.
There's a part of me that wants to make a joke that says, can't you take any of this Ridge money, D-Brain money, whatever, and get a better mic? But also, I have to respect the fact that we've done a lot of studio tours where it's like I can see people spend a lot of money on stuff. Go ahead, say the line.
Gets the job done.
What are we editing on here, by the way? Yeah, super wide. I don't think I've seen a screen this wide before. What is going on here?
Yeah, so I love this screen because like
This man loves his timeline.
Yeah, one
see the whole video.
When I edit with Premiere, the whole timeline is up. But like if I'm just using a web browser or something like that, I can like lock it to one side of the screen.
Sure.
So I usually have like my notes, my research, and then the whole video timeline here.
And that's easy to do with just Windows key arrow to the right when you're using Windows, am I right? I see we got a Windows user in here. Every tour, what do we always see, Patrick? Oh, I got the Mac Studio with the Vision display.
Now I got this whole setup for less than the price of a MacBook.
What are we rocking down here? Did you build a PC or are you into PC building?
I have built them in the past, but this one I just bought.
Are you into PC cleaning though? Because that is a travesty right there. I don't know what that is, but I'll take points off for that. Dusty PC. Looks like you have some kind of system here for
organizing video projects. All these are formatted.
That's fast
and
and
ready to
loose,
go.
man.
See?
If you accidentally like put it down and it gives a bounce, you're playing fast and loose with that.
Here's the thing though, no one else is in here but me. And if I sneeze, I aim it somewhere where it's not going to move the SD
Exactly.
cards.
One sneeze and they all fly over. Audience, do you agree? This is recklessly close between go ahead and format and shoot and edit this project because, you know, there's a big important brand deal on there and it probably hasn't hit the NAS yet.
It hasn't failed me yet. It hasn't failed
You're
me
one
yet.
sneeze away from your channel being over.
All my footage that I've ever shot is on that NAS.
Footage too, not just the... So you don't just keep the keepers, you...
I keep 100% of everything I've ever shot.
Why? Every time I hear somebody say this, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever pulled up a 2021 clip of you, something, and put it into a new video that wasn't available on the finished video that you could have just taken from that? No.
But it's peace of mind. It's nice having redundancy, like we talked about earlier with the microphones.
Oh, it's redundant, all right.
Yeah. This is a motherboard from a Pac-Man video
sweet.
game, like an arcade
Cool.
game. So that's kind of fun.
If we judge the age of this based on dust, it looks like it's from the same era as your PC over there. My man's got a Blacktail Studio hammer.
You know your YouTube channels.
I think we're watching the same stuff.
100%.
Coming soon, probably like mid-July. We're gonna fly out and
Dude, legit.
do Cam's studio. Have you met him?
Not in person. He doesn't know this yet, but I
make
want to
you-
collab with him.
He
to
doesn't
make a
realize that
table.
he's gonna make you a giant epoxy table.
Yeah, one of those $20,000 tables. Yeah, he's gonna make it
You
for
want
me.
it like walnut and epoxy or something like that? Is it
I wanted to make it some like wheelchair. We'll get into this in a minute, but like I wanted to make it somewhere like themed for the factory.
That's cool.
So this summer project took me like 2 years to build. Took like 90 kilowatt hours of Tesla batteries and threw them in the back seats. Took an electric motor out of an airplane tug and made a military Humvee that is fully electric. I don't think most studios have one of these in them.
Pretty good. That's a big hole in the ground you got there.
It's giant.
All right, what else you got?
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not. See this whole thing. I'm not doing that. There's a line I have. There's no hazard pay. Okay, you get an elevator, I'll come down.
We're on our own down here.
Yeah, the elevator's coming soon, hopefully within 2 weeks. So, but the interesting thing, since we're so far below ground, we're about 20 feet down right now. It was about 15 degrees warmer underground than it is above ground during the winter. So it's gonna be fully furnished like an RV. So we're gonna have a master bedroom, we're gonna have bunk bedrooms, we're gonna have a 100-inch TV right here that kind of separates the sleeping area with like the kitchen. Kitchen on this side, and then like couches and stuff over here. And then we have like an EcoFlow RV battery system that we're gonna power the whole thing with. Basically we can run wires and outlets just like a house would. A combustible toilet that combusts any toilet stuff.
So I do have a question. So I watched that whole series. I think I already said I loved it. If you guys are somehow new to Jerry Rig Everything, these series they're talking about, the Humvee one, the bunker, they're great. They're really good watching.
Thanks.
But I was joking around when I was watching them at home. I was like, this guy had to make this into a 6-part series because this is an expensive project, and you got to do some brand deals. You were also selling dirt and like all kinds of stuff, right?
That was fun.
Trying to generate some revenue. Did you cover the cost of the bunker?
100%, yeah, and made quite a bit more actually. So it's,
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole thing was to make money because we have a lot of other projects going on with my Not a Wheelchair business.
Okay, we've seen this name 100 times now.
Yeah.
I can see it right out the window. Tell me about this Not a Wheelchair.
So basically, I met this girl 6 years ago, give or take.
You did it all for a woman.
And I did it all for a woman. And I really liked her. She's been in a wheelchair since she was 18, and I realized very, very, very quickly, like first date quickly, that wheelchairs are ridiculously expensive and off-road wheelchairs are non-existent. And so
How much do wheelchairs cost? Like $5,000?
wheelchairs are $5,000, like the actual manual wheelchairs that you push around, and then off-road wheelchairs were like $20,000. And I'm not going to drop that on a first date, but we were able to design our own and manufacture it for less than $5,000. And then now we're building out a whole factory to make the manual wheelchairs at 20% the cost of the rest of the industry. So it's going to be crazy. You want to see it?
The factory?
Yeah.
All right.
This building right now is about 20 minutes away from, our studio that we filmed earlier, and I guess this building is more of the research and development for our Not a Wheelchair project, which is kind of a contradiction because we actually make wheelchairs now.
Yeah, why did you call it Not a Wheelchair?
Because we weren't making wheelchairs, we were making like this off-road thing because we don't want to be associated with the wheelchair industry because it's just, they cost so much and it's so hard to get and so hard to repair. We want to separate ourselves
Gotcha.
from them. This one, we were able to manufacture from bike parts, and it only cost $5,000, which is a whole lot cheaper than anything else out there at the moment. But as we started manufacturing this and selling it, we realized that wheelchairs are also astronomically expensive. Like the wheelchair that my wife uses is $5,000, and the materials for that chair are like, hundreds of dollars, and it just makes no sense.
That's just a wheelchair like this, right? It's
Right,
not,
the pushing ones, yeah.
Okay.
And so we decided to make our own wheelchairs, and so that's what this building has been for the past 2 years, research and development for that, and we've got some pretty big toys that the YouTube channel has helped fund.
Really cool and noble, where instead of, you're spending your money on something pretty rad, which I really admire.
These are our durability testing machines, and so right now Oren is hooking up, we call this guy Greg. Where's his top half?
Right here.
So basically it's a 250-pound metal human replacement.
Okay.
And it just sits in this chair as it gets dropped 7,000 times with the drop test machine. And then these rollers over here, what is this one, like 200,000 rotations?
200,000.
The entire wheelchair gets dropped, or the metal plate gets dropped onto the chair?
The entire wheelchair, the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And so these tests basically put the wheelchair through 5 years worth of abuse within just a couple days.
Is that the average lifespan of a wheelchair is 5 years?
5 years, give or take. It's just an arbitrary number that it would be good if it lasted for 5
Yeah.
years. And so that's the abuse we put it through. Because basically we want to make a super inexpensive, durable product that people can use for a really long time. This is...
What the hell is this?
So this is something I have not shown on my channel yet. So you're seeing it for the first time.
Oh, we got the exclusive.
Yeah, so our off-road wheelchairs are really good, but
If you need to go to war.
if you need to go to war and you need something with like extra traction, like a track chair, like you just can't compete with that. Plus, this one can be operated by a joystick, which like expands the potential audience size for it, because like not everyone has the use of their fingers
Oh, okay.
or the strength to like
Sure.
steer, and so having a joystick operated contraption. So I'll make a video about this on my channel in probably like 2 or 3 months, so you get the first look.
Nice. And if you get some of your other wheelchairs stuck, then you bring in the tracked wheelchair to pull them all out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We imagine like farmers and like, people who live way out in the boonies or like Canada or something like that
Totally.
would work out really well.
Wait,
for
did you
this.
call Canada the boonies? I resent the implication.
And then this is also something we have not released yet. This is a 4-wheel drive version of what you saw earlier. There's a hub motor in each tire, and like this thing has more than 4,000 watts worth of power at any given time. Can tow 300 pounds, 20 miles. It's a very capable machine. We have a FabLite laser, which is used to like cut out all the metal. So like this trailer you see here, all was cut with the FabLite. The Fume Dog gets rid of like the harmful contaminants from the laser because you don't want to breathe in the aluminum dust. Kind of kills you over time. 15L Slant Pro lathe from Tormach. We have the 1100 from Tormach as well. And like we make a lot of our parts like casters and wheelchairs and camber tubes and stuff like that. A little bit away from the camera studio setup.
That's why I put my clipboard away.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's nothing in here for me to have any, I don't like the way you got your Tormach set up.
This building we bought 2 years ago, and it's about 5,000 square feet. And then we are moving to a new building in about 2.5 months, which is 26,000 square feet. And that one has the big boy toys in it. Now we are in the third building. I don't know what's the best segue to this. What did we say last?
We don't need a
what was our
segue.
last thing? We don't need a segue?
No.
Okay, we're here randomly in a new spot. Everything that I've been doing for like the last 5 or 6 years have been leading up to this. Every single brand deal, every single video that I've made, this is what it's all building up to. So this is our new space that we're building out right now. So this is gonna be a showroom for our new Not a Wheelchair building. We have like a conference room over here, glass walls going down in between these two areas. The cool machines, though, are over here. This is another conference room where all the engineers are gonna sit. And then come out here for a second. This right here is a 26,000 square foot wheelchair manufacturing facility where we'll be able to have metal come in one side and wheelchairs leaving the other side and finishing wheelchairs in just a couple hours. Where now, if someone orders a wheelchair, it takes like 6 months. Let me show you some of the machines that we're gonna be, and if you have any questions.
It's bigger than I was expecting. We were
hear
in
that a lot.
space. That other space seemed like reasonable. So when you said there was a bigger space, I thought,
Yeah.
okay, it'd be a little bit bigger, you know. This is massive. This is a Walmart or whatever.
The Walmart of wheelchair manufacturing, which is good. Low price wheelchairs, that's where we're coming in at. So this machine right here costs around $460,000. It's a Herber 350 left-right multi-stack bending machine.
It's produced by the modial interaction of magnetoreluctance and capacitive diractance.
This head right here can flip left and right, pinch metal and kind of like pull it through a die to shape it in whatever, bend radius we're going for. But it also has something inside called a mandrel, because like if you take, this piece of drywall right here, if you try to bend a metal rod, it'll just kind of snap. But if you have a mandrel inside, it kind of like fills the tube as you're bending it so that it doesn't kink along its bend radius. And so this has it's able to bend the outside and the inside of the metal at the same time, which is why it's so expensive, but it's also super fast, because it's gonna make wheelchair manufacturing a lot easier.
Do you know you could tell that Zach got really excited? He stopped talking to me in the tour, and now he just is so excited to tell people about this thing. He's just locked into the camera now, and everything else around him is gone. This is a crazy machine, though, man.
It's so cool. I mean, it took us a minute to pull the trigger on it because $460,000 is a lot of money.
I bet. You gotta vet that purchase a little bit. Eh?
Yeah, and so this right here is a Laguna laser. I think it's about 4 kilowatts. It's able to cut through 1/2-inch aluminum plate.
Oh, you went with the Laguna, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, the Laguna.
Gotta go with the
Laguna makes some pretty awesome tools.
Look how far we've come. Hey, fam, we went from asking Potato Jet what kind of color paper he's using in his backdrops to Zach telling us he's got Laguna lasers in his space for his 2-hour express wheelchair manufacturing depot or whatever you're working on here.
Yeah,
It's pretty crazy, man.
The reason my
You're a
LED
YouTuber,
lights,
right? That's what this is?
YouTuber,
This is regular YouTuber stuff? Okay.
But I save money by buying $7 LED lights so that I can spend it on $500,000 metal benders.
I take everything back.
There we go.
Your early system makes sense. I didn't see the forest for the trees with the $7 lights, you know what I mean?
Basically, everything that jerry rigged up. Elephants are really cool.
Well, Cam, this is the first time I've actually held your hammer. And
Who's the real fan?
Did
Who
I just say
actually
this is
bought
the
one?
first time I've ever held Cam's hammer?
Wow, I thought we were trying to not get flagged on YouTube.
This is the door's right here. Yeah? Okay.
That is a door. Good job.
Don't worry about it. Give me a 180 on that, and taking this and putting it on the 40/40, and then flipping that for the putting the reverse transmuter in there. I think. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, I think that'll make a big difference. You're welcome, Zach.
Yeah. All right, that solved us a lot of issues, and/or created more.
Can you imagine if you weren't building it out? You're just like, everything I've ever done has led up to this. This is it. I'm pretty happy with it. I think
it's finished. If I shoot everything myself, why does anyone else need to know where my stuff is at?
Because it's for me, clearly.
He doesn't have an answer to this.
Editor drilled here. Ignore everything I just said. Cut this out.
Right on.